What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Fantasy Files Reacts, where we talk about our favorite shows, movies, and video games. We are your co-hosts, Spencer and Gabe. And Gabe, what are we doing today?
Ooh, you guys are in for a good one. Today we're talking about episodes 7 and 8 of the second season of Yellowjackets.
That's right. We're going to be diving deep, full spoilers into these two episodes for the kind of penultimate episodes to the finale.
Yeah.
Next week is the finale. So for this discussion, we're going to be gearing up for that discussion and kind of getting ready for all the crazy stuff that's going to be happening next week. But also, we're going to be talking about, like Gabe said, 7 and 8 and just kind of looking at all the stuff that happened in those episodes.
Yep.
So, that being said, if you'd like to reach out to us or follow us, our Twitter and Discord links are in the description. You can reach out to us there and we can talk more about Yellowjackets, or we can talk about Yellowjackets in the comments as well. Also, in the description, you'll find a link to our Patreon page. And that is if you would like to help support the podcast. There's lots of kind of monthly expenses that go into running this thing, and Patreon helps us pay for that. So if you'd like to support us in that way, that'd be great. There's not a lot of rewards over there for kind of specifically Fantasy Files React stuff. Most of it is for the main channel, but it is a good way to help us out. But if you can't support financially, that's totally fine. Subscribing and liking the video helps a lot. It helps us get seen by the algorithm, and more people like you find the channel and enjoy our content. So with that, we're going to get into it, and we're going to kind of catch up a little bit and talk about, has there been anything else that you've been watching or playing lately, Gabe?
Yes and yes. Nothing very exciting. But we're still watching The Good Doctor little bit by little bit. That's, at the end of the day, that's what I look forward to. Like if I'm getting ready for bed, Good Doctor.
Right.
Last night we watched Insidious 2.
Oh.
Have you seen any of the Insidious movies?
They're
my
not
God.
for me. They're not for me.
Oh, you just have to try it though. If you never tried it, you can't say it. Yeah, so they're scary. So we watched the second one and it was pretty freaky. Game wise, I've been really getting back into Call of Duty lately.
Yeah, that's right.
Like really back into Call of Duty. It's all I really wanted to play.
Okay.
So yeah.
Nice.
But that's it.
Have you thought about going back into Deathloop?
Yeah, I do. Yes. I do play Deathloop at night, and I haven't played I'll play for like 30 minutes or an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'll pass out, but I do still play it, and I have been playing it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I think I've got like maybe 11 hours total right now.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that the final season of The Good Doctor just came out?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Leah told me that.
So you guys are going to be doing your rewatch and finally getting to see how it all ends, because you guys really like that show, right?
Yes,
that's
we love
like
it. We love it.
Your favorite shows.
Because we're on season 3 or 4 right now, and I think they just came out with 7, right? Season 7. That's the final season. 6.
6 is.
Yeah. So we're halfway there, but.
Whoa, living on a prayer. All right. So yeah. What have I been doing? I haven't been watching any other TV, although I am this close to getting Apple. What do they call it?
Apple TV.
Plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I have it. If you want to use my account, you can.
Oh, okay, cool. Maybe I'll do that.
Yep.
Because I really want to see Severance. I really want to see For All Mankind, and there's another one. Oh, Silo. There's a new show called Silo that just came out that's based on a book that I've wanted to read for a long time. So
what book, can I ask?
It's called Wool.
Okay.
By Hugh Howey.
Okay.
And it's been recommended a number of times, and it's kind of about you ever see like The City of Ember?
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, where they all live in like this enclosed thing, and they believe that the outside world is very
not
toxic.
Hospitable. Yeah.
And so it's kind of them living in like this big underground silo.
Okay.
And as punishment, they like if there's somebody in the community that needs to be punished, they have to like go outside for a period of time
Oh
where it's
shit.
all like radiation and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's kind of uncovering a mystery of like maybe the outside world isn't as inhospitable as we think, or something like
Yep.
that, some
Yep.
kind of twist like that. So I've really, really wanted to check out the book. I've really wanted to check out the show. And Apple TV, I mean, I haven't personally watched any of it, but from what I've heard from everyone else,
It's
they're putting out some
they
bangers.
are. It's
Yeah.
cool. There's a movie that we watched that was about God, hold on, you're gonna have to edit this. Let me find his
Mm-hmm.
name because I'll sound like a dipshit if I don't.
Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Tom Hanks. Okay, yeah. So I watched. He came out with two movies. I've only seen the first one, and I can't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head, but you would know it. It's about a robot that he builds,
Mm.
and it's post-apocalyptic. And he's building this robot to take care of his dog when he dies.
Oh, yes. I know. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it's called, but I know
Yep.
what you're talking about.
It was
Yeah,
so good, dude. So good. It was like probably one of the better movies I've seen in a long time.
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
would recommend it to anybody that has Apple TV. Check that out.
One sec. Let me. Finch.
Finch.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I remember at the time people really, really liked that when that came out, and then it kind of disappeared into
Yeah,
the
because I had
woodwork.
never even heard about it until I got an email saying you should try Apple TV, and I saw it and I looked up reviews and I was like, shit, I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
So I
Awesome.
got it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking about getting Apple TV just for all those reasons. As far as video games that I've played lately, I've been getting back into Assassin's Creed Odyssey,
Yeah, that's a good one.
and man, I love this game so much. I like, and what's funny is you were the one that convinced me to play it in the
Dude,
first place.
I played that game so much. I probably put 200 hours into that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was so on the side of it's not like the old
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just stupid. And then you came over one day and it was on your computer and you like let me like dink around on it. And I played it for like 15 minutes and I'm like, I think I want to download this.
Yeah.
And as soon as I did, I just put so many hours into that.
Yes.
And then I took a big break because I got all the way through one of the DLCs and I got into the next one. And I'm like, I think I've just had a little bit of like an overload.
Yeah.
I need to take a step back for a
Yep.
minute. And so now I'm going back into it and I'm finishing up that final DLC.
Nice.
And I'm like, man, I just can't wait to finish this DLC and then go do a bunch of side stuff that I never did. And so yeah, I'm loving it. I'm also playing a little bit of Days Gone.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a really fun game. You need to play that one for
I
sure.
know. Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
seeing a lot of videos pop up on YouTube and other places about that. It's my sign.
Right. Yeah,
Gotta play
yeah.
it.
For sure. You would definitely like it. I
Yeah.
think it would definitely be your type of game. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for me. I think that's all the stuff that I've been playing. Hank's here. Come here.
Hanky.
Wah.
There he is. There's the boy. Oh, he's so cute, dude.
There we go.
There he is. The handsome boy.
All right. So shall we as my dog is trying to eat everything on the desk,
Yep.
shall we go into the Yellowjackets episodes?
Let's
We
do
saw
it.
7 and 8 this week, and I really enjoyed them. I think.
I did too. No,
What?
I enjoyed them a lot. I think I enjoyed number 8 more.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because there was, a lot of shit that was kind of finally come to fruition.
Yeah,
They were both awesome.
yeah. I think 7 it wasn't disappointing, but it was kind of the same thing as last week because last week we did 5 and 6,
Yeah.
and I think I felt the same way about 5 that I did about 7, where I was just kind of like, yeah, it was all right. Stuff was happening,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you get to the next one, and like bigger stuff happens.
For sure.
I'm kind of trying to figure out how I feel about the second season altogether because
Oh,
I think I think at this point I liked the first season more. I
That's
think
fair.
there was just
Yeah.
like more reveals and more twists, and there's plenty of like weird stuff happening in this season as well. But
I think with you just saying that, and I totally agree, but I think there's a level of like the first season, like, kind of being new, I guess.
yeah,
Like this was something new. Uh,
right,
when they originally crashed and trying to figure out how they're gonna survive and this and that. And by season two, like, they've got a system down, they know what's
right,
going on, but then you get introduced to the weird spirit shit. And so that's kind of a
right,
different separate ball game a little bit.
yeah,
But I would probably agree for sure. I
yeah,
think season one was exciting just because of,
the newness,
yeah, the newness,
yeah,
and this was not something I've ever seen before in a show. And it was
yeah.
just, yeah.
And with the second season too, we have this whole like Lottie's compound type
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And that is at the same time very like interesting and kind of drives the plot a little bit, but it's
Hmm.
also kind of slower
Yeah,
because they're not like out doing stuff like in the
for
first
sure. And it's
season. They
not
were
like
like,
life or death. Like, you know what
yeah,
I mean? Yeah.
like in the first season they were like covering up a murder and interrogating people and threatening
Yeah.
people and stuff. And in this one it's just kind of them at the compound
Just
trying to
slowly
figure their
figuring
shit
shit
out.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see the finale and kind of make a final judgment on the second season and see how I feel about
Yeah.
it. But from the scenes for next week,
Oh, it's gonna be a banger,
dude,
dude.
that like I don't know if I've ever been that hyped for like a
Yeah.
scenes for next week
Yep.
kind of thing. I'm like, oh my god, there's so much happening. I can't
Yeah.
even. There was so much I couldn't even remember half of it. But it looks like Walter is going to be helping them out a little bit. Maybe one of
Yeah.
the
I
cops
hope
die
so,
or
dude. Yeah.
something.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Cool. It'd be
um,
awesome.
so yeah, let's talk about episode 5. I have some notes here.
Episode 5 or episode 7?
Or sorry, yes, you're right,
Okay.
episode 7. So the women in present day get their various kind of tasks at the cult camp,
Hmm.
and this was funny because who is it? I think it's Shauna who chooses self-care, and she
Yeah.
thinks that it's going to be like this whole massage and
Yeah.
counseling and
Yep.
stuff like that. And she ends up having to take care of this goat,
Yeah.
and she's like carrying this goat around everywhere. She loses it. Misty helps her find the goat. It's eaten half the rope.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
What was the conclusion of that? She kind of passes off the goat, and they all end up
Yeah. Well,
together at the
yep.
end, kind of
And
talking, right?
yeah, they start talking, and Lottie says something to her about the significance of the goat, right? And she just starts crying and is like, I can't remember what she says, but she was either sad that she has to depart with the goat or just, you know, getting in the
Right.
feels for caring for this animal.
Right. Yeah, I think she equated it to her daughter
Yeah.
and how she's like, I can't care for this goat and I can't care for my daughter. I just
Gotcha.
can't do anything
For sure.
right.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good scene.
Yeah.
So then Ben has this
Oh,
weird
yeah.
vision, and he's clearly in the cabin, but he's also seeing his old boyfriend, Paul. And it's just this weird vision type thing where Paul's like, I gotta go, I gotta go. And Ben's like, what are you talking about? Don't go. And Paul's like, this can't happen anymore. And he turns to him and he's like, where do you think you are, Ben? This was never meant to be your hiding place. You're not
Mm,
welcome here anymore. And it's not clear whether that was something that he said in the
yeah.
past or if it's something that in this vision he's trying to tell him now. Like, where do you think you are? This isn't meant to be your hiding place. And I think that might tell us a little bit about Ben's character. Maybe he was going on this trip with the girls to kind of get away from his normal life. Maybe some
Yep.
stuff was happening, and he was trying to kind of like hide away.
for sure.
through
At
this.
least take some time.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was really weird and it didn't really get explained. And for both of these episodes, all of the girls are starving.
Yeah.
And
So,
so a lot of weird shit is
yep, for
happening.
sure. Hallucinations are happening and some
Yeah,
weird crap. Yeah. Misty back in the cabin. Misty and the girls go searching for Crystal,
that's right.
who we know was murdered by Misty. Uh,
Yes.
and I remember when we were watching it, we were talking or whatever, and I'm just like, is she gonna tell him? And then no, she just does a class A act,
Mm-hmm.
crying and running, and I'm gonna find her, blah blah blah. I was
Yeah.
like, just, I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but there's levels to how fucked up your head can be, and I feel like with Misty, it's a
it's
it's a continuous scale. It
yeah.
just keeps going up.
It's so wild because I don't know, she's already leading them on a bit of a goose chase because how that all kind of started was she was doing some sort of chore and then she overheard the other girls saying, I bet Misty killed Crystal or
Yeah, that's right.
whatever.
Yep.
And so then back at the cabin, Misty's like, we gotta go find Crystal to kind of take the
Yes.
heat
Next
off her a
second
little
she
bit.
walks in. Yeah.
And she's not fooling anybody, even when they're out there searching for Crystal and Misty is doing her whole act.
Yep.
The other girls are like, just do whatever you want. Like,
Yeah,
I
like
don't
we don't really
care.
care at this
Yeah.
point.
And then after Misty leaves them to actually go find the body so she can hide the body, the girls are like half-heartedly like, Crystal,
Yeah,
Crystal. Like
yeah,
they don't
yeah.
care at all. And it was interesting to see that Misty tries to go find the body, but the body is, I couldn't tell if the body was gone or if it was buried under so much snow.
I feel like
And
I don't did she end up going down to the bottom of that cliff?
yeah.
Okay.
She was at the bottom of the cliff and she
And then
kept
she
like
couldn't find it.
digging through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so I wonder, with what we saw in episode 8, the little tree hideaway
Yeah.
they find, there's obviously somebody else out there, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I wonder if whoever that is, if they found the body and that's who they ate in their
For
little
sure.
tree fort.
Yeah.
And then we see Ben. At first, we just see him like going through the woods, and I was like, what is he doing? Is he
Yeah.
chasing like this vision of Paul or what? But then he ends up at the edge of the cliff, and Misty is begging him not to jump.
Yeah.
And I forget what she says
She
eventually.
I think at the very end she said something meaningful, but before that it was some weird stuff that in my head I was like that wouldn't make me not want to jump.
Right.
Like she just being weird Misty, like I loved you and I blah blah blah, shit like that.
Yeah,
Like
she
you're not
was.
you're not helping the situation.
Yeah, she was saying that I'll tell everybody that you're gay, or I'll tell everybody that you
Yeah, and she's
seduced
like, it's
me,
no
and
big deal, like
yeah,
yeah.
and
And I
and
was
so
just like, dude, you're putting nails in his coffin right now. Like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
just
and
but then
he
but then yeah, then she does say something that maybe but she says something that I thought was profound and what made him
yeah
kind of change his mind.
she ends up like breaking down in like actual tears
Yeah.
and says that she tried so hard to save the baby, to save Shauna's baby,
Yes, that's right.
and
That's right.
and she couldn't.
Yeah.
And then she said, like, I cannot have another death on my
On her
hands.
hands.
Please
Yeah.
do not
Okay.
jump. And it
Yeah.
was that kind of turned him
Gotcha.
around.
Yep.
And Ben is an interesting character because you would think that he would be the like voice of reason,
Yeah, the
the
solid
adult.
standing rock, the person
Yeah,
that's yeah.
but he's lost a leg. He's
Yep.
seen the girls eat someone
Yes.
and all sorts of other stuff. And so he has little by little broken down and he seems more like a real person, like how a real person would be reacting
Yeah.
in this situation rather than just the coach of the soccer team.
Yep.
And so I really like what they've done with his character. I think that he is believable and that he's not necessarily this rock of confidence
Yeah.
and leadership. Like it's actually a lot of the girls that are kind of fulfilling that role, but not in a
Yes.
way that necessarily overshadows him, but they're just more.
They're having to be more self-sufficient between the
Yeah,
ladies. Yeah.
right. Yeah, they're adapting a little bit
Yep.
better. They're not adapting well, but they're adapting a little bit
For
better than
sure.
Ben
They are
is.
adapting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Could be good or bad.
Yeah. Oh, and then Misty's deprivation tank.
Yeah.
Dude, that was wild. It's like
Yeah.
this whole song and dance with like the parrot
Yeah,
and
Caligula. So
yeah,
weird, dude.
and
So
Walter's
weird.
there like with a cane doing his dance. It was
Yeah.
so weird. And then Caligula turns into a person and has this talk with her.
Yep.
Just super weird all around.
Yeah, it was weird. I agree.
Okay, so yeah, then we find out that Van has cancer.
Yes.
After Ty starts like making out with her, and then they kind of separate, and Van tells her that she's got cancer and that she really only has a couple months left.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure where that storyline is going to go because we didn't hear much about that in the next episode, but I wonder if that'll play into the main narrative somehow.
Totally could. Yeah. I do think it has a certain amount of significance, obviously.
Yeah.
But my thought is that, like, will it be significant with this spirit that, they're trying to appease?
Yeah, I wonder, like, we see in the next episode, and we'll talk about this more later,
Yeah.
but the how one of them has to die.
Yeah.
Like they have to go until everybody's gone.
Lottie keeps saying, like, give it what it wants. It wants
right.
one of us. It always has.
Right.
Which is crazy.
And so I wonder if Van will be the solution to that, like giving the spirit Van or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So then I have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Has Natalie totally bought into this cult thing? And at first I was thinking that maybe she's playing it up to kind of achieve her mission, like that whole, like everything she was trying to do a couple episodes ago.
You mean Natalie in the present day?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that she kind of has bought into Lottie's whole cult camp kind of thing, which is weird. Like, she is not the character that
She'd be the last
expect.
person you'd think.
Yeah. So I wonder how that's gonna play out. I don't know.
I feel like, dude, Natalie has been, like Lottie says, she's been in so much pain for so long,
Yeah.
Just constant pain in every aspect of her life. And I think if it was me, being at the compound and calling bullshit on it, and every day I'm just like, no, it's not real. Fuck you guys. And it's like slowly starting to learn that, like, this actually is helping people.
Yeah.
I think that would be enough hope for me to grasp onto.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, she's got to be kind of like mentally and emotionally looking for some sort of life raft.
Anything that there is to make it stop. Yeah.
So then we get the big reveal. Does a hunt that has no violence feed anyone? And we find out that Lottie's therapist is not real.
Oh, that was crazy, dude.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Because we've seen her talk to this therapist for the past few episodes, and she goes into this room and she tells the therapist like all about what happened in the woods, and the therapist says, like, have you been taking your medication and all this stuff. And it turns out she's in this scene, she's talking to the therapist, and the voice kind of changes a little bit, and it sounds a little bit more sinister, and I forget what she says. She says something that makes Lottie go, wait, what are you talking about? And then she turns into the veiled thing
with the antlers,
with the antlers. And then she says, like, does a hunt that has no violence feed anyone?
Dude.
And dude, that was the biggest what the fuck moment for me.
For
like,
sure.
I mentioned last night while we were watching it, I'm like, my heart is pounding. It was so good. So good. I thought that was such a good reveal that I was not expecting. And after that whole scene, after this episode that we watched last night, it did kind of, because we talked on the last discussion that we had where this season wasn't as scary as the last one. That episode left me with the feeling of like I'm kind of
There's somebody
looking
in the
towards my
windows.
door.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I'm looking at the shadows around my room and stuff. And so yeah, it left me a little bit tripped out, I
A little bit
think.
spooked. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
I think something about the show that I've noticed is it's done a really good job at subverting your expectations of, as a
Yeah,
watcher, you build up a theory or you build up a
right.
thought that might happen. And like the therapist one, I would have never ever guessed that.
Yeah,
Never would have crossed my mind. But then it happens and you're like, "Oh my God, it makes so much sense, dude."
yeah,
Like it's perfect. And yeah, it's a great way to make good TV, and people like you and I watch the shit out of it.
yeah. It didn't even occur to me to even
No. Yeah.
question anything about the therapist. I'm like,
Yep.
oh, this is just a therapist that she talks to.
Hmm.
And and I guess looking back on it, I should have thought, well,
What if,
Lottie, like
yeah,
Lottie never leaves the compound, so
for
where
sure.
is this
Yep.
therapist? Like
But you
I
just
yeah,
didn't, because it wasn't,
yeah,
they set it up so well to where
yeah,
you never would have thought. And then that's when it just smacks you with it. I love it.
yeah. So then in the past, we get the younger girls, and Shauna, she hears Misty humming the same song that Lottie was humming in that kind of alternate reality version of events
Hmm.
where they all ate the baby.
Yeah.
And there has to be something there. Like there has to be some sort of tie between whatever that was and reality. There has to be like some
Oh,
alternate timeline, because Misty is humming this very specific song.
yeah.
And Shauna's like, "How do you know that song?
Yeah.
How do you know that song?" And then she starts screaming, "You guys ate my baby," and like all
Yes.
this
Freaked
stuff.
out.
And they're like, "What are you talking about?" But Lottie almost has this look on her face like she knows what Shauna's
That's what
talking
I was
about.
just gonna say, dude.
Yeah,
Just gonna say. I feel like Lottie was either given the information by the spirit, or she also had the alternate reality dream or whatever it was.
yeah,
And she knew in that moment, she's like, I have to let this happen.
yeah,
And
yeah,
Shauna proceeds to beat the fuck out of her in front of
yeah.
everybody.
Well, yeah, she gives herself up because Shauna, she hits Misty at first, then Lottie steps in front of her. And Lottie, in the alternate reality, she was the one responsible for all this weird shit happening around the baby. And so it's possible that she feels guilty about it and is like, "Hey, beat the shit out of me instead. Like, don't go after Misty. She had nothing to do with this."
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be some sort of connection there, because obviously Lottie feels some sort of like
Yep.
there's some
There's a
guilt there.
Yes, there's guilt. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's like, how is there guilt? Like, how does that connect? Like, that
Hmm.
didn't actually happen, or did it?
For sure. Yeah.
Ah, dude, it's
Crazy. It's crazy.
probably one of the biggest questions I have right
Yeah.
now for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, Shauna beats her to within an
Just
inch of her life.
brutally, dude. She beats her so brutally. And I feel like there's times like where she would stop
Mm-hmm.
and then just be like, "No, fuck you," and just keep
Yep.
hitting her in the face. And I'm like, "Oh my God, dude."
Yep.
And like you said, inch within her life, like Lottie like was dead. Her kidneys got so damaged she was peeing blood.
Yeah.
Like she was fucked up, dude.
Yeah.
Like very sick from that beating. It's crazy.
Every time she would keep going, I thought she was about to stop and she would
Yeah.
keep going. Oh man, I
And
can't
dude,
imagine.
unreal. And the part that sent that home for me, like
Mm-hmm.
the most feels that I had was when after she's done, she stops and Lottie's not breathing. And she says, "Lottie, Lottie,
Yeah.
Lottie." And then Lottie breathes and Shauna's like, "All right, your life, fuck you," and gets up and walks away.
Yeah.
Like no remorse. Just like,
Yeah.
"You're not dead. I'm leaving." And I'm like, "Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy."
And it's like there's got to be some sort of conflict of feelings within Shauna, because we see in the next episode she's like she's trying to help keep Lottie alive. And it's
Yeah.
like, how do you reconcile, like, there that's why I'm saying there's got to be some sort of like mental link between Shauna and Lottie. Like they both know
Oh,
the
dude,
situation, but nobody else
I
knows.
think that her kid is that link. I think the kid, the baby boy that passed, is the
Yeah.
link.
Yeah, because like you said, it'd be interesting if Lottie also experienced that kind of alternate version
Yeah.
of events. Because Lottie is taking the whole thing like a champ,
Yes.
and she's
Like
like
she
she's like
knows
that needed to happen.
she knows this is what has to happen
Yeah,
for the future to work. I have to take this.
right.
Yeah.
And Shauna feels bad about it enough to be like, okay, I gotta help her like get better and stuff.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of resentment in
Yeah.
her
Oh yeah.
still too. And it's like, why do you have this resentment for things that never happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's got to be something
For
that they're
sure.
not showing us
Yep.
that they both know.
I agree.
Yeah. And then present day Shauna, this is the last thing in the episode. In the present day, Shauna gets an emergency phone call from her
Oh,
husband
yeah.
saying that the police found Adam's body.
Yeah.
So that leads us into episode 8. And we see, coming back to Lottie, we see that she's beat to shit, but she's alive, and she pees blood in that little basin.
Yep.
What was up with the girl? There was that girl at the beginning of the episode who's like, Misty is helping Lottie kind of lay down and get comfortable and stuff. And
Yeah.
then the other girl is like,
Yeah.
that smells like shit. What the hell? And
Yeah.
Misty's like, then take the pan out there. What, like,
Yep.
get out of here then.
Dude, I think she was literally just being like a little ignorant, shitty teenager.
Yeah, like
Like
was
that's the way
she
that I felt. Because but we see her later, like she cares about Lottie a ton. Like we see that in the remainder of the episode. But I
yeah,
think it was just one of those things where she's like, no, I don't want to do that.
right.
No, I'm not doing it.
I,
I
I
was like,
I
jeez.
I wonder if there's like some sort of amount of shock that she's in or something, because she
Could
picks up
be,
the
yeah.
bowl and she goes to go
And
downstairs and she
drops it.
drops
Yeah.
it and then she
Yeah.
just starts bawling.
Yeah. That would make sense, dude.
And I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
it's
There's
got to
got to
be
be some
some,
trauma somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we find out that I think her name is I have the name Akila here. I can't remember
Okay. Yep.
if that's the right
That's
name.
fair. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, the other girl, the girl with the rat that we've seen,
Hmm.
this rat that she basically has as a pet,
Yeah.
and she's been talking to this whole time. Thaisa comes up and she's like, "Who are you talking to? Like, what's going on?" And she's like, "It's my little pet. It's my little rat."
When she gets mad, she's like, "You will not touch him.
Yeah,
Stay the fuck away
don't
from him."
touch him. And Thaisa's like,
Grabs her
"The
hand. She's like,
rat's dead."
It's dead. There's no rat there
Oh
anymore."
my
Oh,
god,
dude,
dude,
yeah, that was crazy.
that
Another
blew my
thing about
mind.
subverting expectations, dude.
Yeah,
Show's so good at it.
like I didn't even think to,
Even think that.
yeah, like
Like
I
it
didn't
was
even
just
consider
so,
that the rat
yeah.
was dead.
There was never any setup for it. You never had a feeling before that that might happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, just one of those things.
it makes you wonder if there's anything else that
What
we're
else is
seeing that,
exactly,
yeah,
dude? Yep, exactly.
like what if one of the girls is
Is not,
not
yeah,
alive?
dude.
Yeah,
Exactly, exactly. Like the coach
yeah,
is one that could be dead.
yeah, yeah,
The girl with the pink hat, backwards pink hat, could be dead. Just
yeah,
anybody that we haven't seen. There's only four, right? Or four or five that we know for sure survive.
yeah, because
Yeah.
there's Van, Thaisa, Shauna, Natalie, and Lottie and Misty. So
Okay, so
6.
six. And
Yeah.
I think we have 9 people in the
Yeah.
in the shack right now. So
Right. And then we get kind of this scene where all the girls are kind of hanging out. How do they
in the in
find
the in,
out?
in the prayer shack.
Yeah, but before that, where were
Mhm.
they? Were they still in that drinking thing where we ended on the
Yep,
last episode?
exactly. Yeah, they were still drinking alcohol and in kind of the
Yeah,
main quarters of this
that's
area.
that's right. Because Shauna
Yeah.
comes out and she's like, "I need to leave because
Yeah.
my husband just found out this thing."
Yep.
And then they go outside, and Shauna is starting to let more
Spill the
information
beans,
slip.
yeah. And Lottie's like, "No, no, no.
Let's take
We
this
need
to
to
a
go up
private, yeah,
to the prayer shack, like, right
yeah.
now."
So yeah, they go up there, and Shauna kind of spills everything.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think Misty spills everything
Oh
for
yeah,
Shauna.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because Shauna
it's
was, like, fighting it, and then Misty's like, "Okay, are you gonna tell them or me?"
right,
Like, "I'll tell them what's going on."
right.
Uh, and we find out more shit about Misty too, which I did not. Well, and I should have known, but I forgot. I didn't think that
Mm.
Misty had killed that reporter, but you're like, yeah, dude, she fucking
Yeah,
killed her.
yeah. They
Yeah,
find out about Misty killing. They basically everything that's kind of been hidden from everybody up to
it's
this
all
point
just
is
out in
now
the open.
out.
Yeah,
And I think that that was probably a good idea on the showrunners
mm,
side of things, because there's only so much you can do if certain characters don't know everything that's
for
happened.
sure. Yeah,
Like there
there's
there ha-
limitations that are set because of
right.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, there has to be a way to bring everybody up to speed. And so while this whole scene, I think they did a pretty good job with it, but in
yeah.
some ways it felt kind of like, okay, let's recap everything that's happened. But I feel like it still needed to be done to like show the
Well,
audience that
it was,
everybody's
yeah,
on
it
the
was a
same page.
recap, but it was different characters finding out shit for the
Right.
first time. So it's
Yeah.
like we know what's going on, but like Thaisa learning what's going on is pretty wicked. Same with all the rest
Right.
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was done pretty well, all things considered. So then we get Natalie. If I remember correctly, it was Natalie telling Ben that Javi was like bowing to some weird tree out in the wilderness that had
Yep.
a sign on it,
Yep.
and Ben gets the idea to go look through Javi's bag, and he finds all these weird drawings and like a
Which was pretty wild. I mean, he like straight deduced. He had to make a map. He had to draw these things that weren't drawn out, and he made himself like a direct map to this tree that's been told. Like people have, I don't know how many. Javi said it. There was has to be others, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so what the map is something that he's been working on all season,
Okay,
and the
that's right.
tree
I'm
picture that he
sorry. Yeah,
found, it was like the last
the
piece of that.
finalization.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so he was able to kind of triangulate
for sure.
where this place was. But yeah, that was really weird. That was really weird, this whole hobby thing. Like, what is that place?
Yeah, that's probably what I'm most interested in going into the. Well, will there be a season 3? I hope so.
Of course, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because you never know, dude. Sometimes they cancel out and they're like, no, we couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
going to season 3, that'll be my main thing to think about the first couple episodes is who was the lady that told Javi to stay here?
Yeah, I mean it's got to be the person that
Yeah.
lived in the
Yep. In the
tree.
cove. Yeah.
And yeah, that was interesting seeing him finding it at the end, and it's like warm in there. It's like there's
Yep. There's steam
steam.
coming out of the hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to think of that, because Ben is obviously going to hide out in there.
Hmm.
I would be
I would think
surprised if
he'd
he
stay
went
there
back
too.
to the
Yeah,
cabin.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's like maybe he'll meet up with the person that Javi was staying with, and they'll become a little bit of a team. Or
Mm.
like what if Ben is still alive in present day,
Oh,
and
whoa.
we just haven't seen him yet.
Why did I've never even considered that, dude. I thought for
Yeah,
sure he was gonna have to die off. I like
right.
that.
Because in the first season we never saw Van,
That's true. That's
but then
true.
we found out that she came back with
Yep.
them in the second season. I wonder if we haven't fully uncovered who all is,
For
alive.
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I have like ideas about who I would guess 100% are dead, like the girl with the pink hat.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure she was the girl that they were eating in the first episode when we got that kind of flash forward.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, in the first episode, before really anything happened, we saw like a flash forward to all of these like tribal people, and they're running a girl down, and they
Yeah.
hang her from a tree and slit
Shit.
her
That's
and
right.
bleed
Yep.
her out.
Yep.
And I would imagine that that's the blonde
Yeah.
girl.
She is of the, I mean, dude, there's been no plot significance with her whatsoever.
Right. Yeah.
Just been a face, so that would make
Right.
sense.
So then we see the cops show up at Jeff and Shauna's
Oh,
house,
yeah.
and they
Yeah.
corner them. They search Callie's room, they search the house, they question Jeff, and they show him pictures of a surgically dismembered
Ooh,
Adam.
yeah.
And this I thought was kind of bullshit. They were like, "Oh yeah, the body was like surgically cut apart," and Jeff's like, "Well, then Shauna couldn't do it."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, but she was out in the wilderness and she has
Yeah, that
survival
was, yeah.
instincts." And if I was Jeff, I'd be like, "Yeah, she was using a sharpened
Yeah,
rock."
you know what
Like,
survival instincts are? Stabbing them until they die, regardless
yeah,
of where it is, dude. You're not
it's
gonna
not.
cut up body parts.
Yeah, it's not like this surgically
No,
precise.
yeah,
Like, what the fuck? So
yeah,
I wasn't fully following there. I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with that whole storyline. I think we'll get some major answers
yeah,
next week, based on what we saw from the
for
scenes for
sure.
next week.
I think
But
out of that visit, the only really intriguing thing to me was between Callie and whatever the fuck the cop's name is.
yeah,
And they had this back and forth, Callie's like, "Oh, you're gonna come in here, blah blah blah," and they get into Callie's room. And he's like searching her stuff, and she's like, "Oh, something about like, I'm underage." She's like, "Don't go too far, you'll hit my panty drawer."
right,
And they were just going back and forth, and Callie puts on this little act, and you and I both were like, "Holy crap!" And she starts
yeah,
crying like, "All I have to do is tell the DA that you seduced a little girl, blah blah blah." And this
right,
guy's like, "Nice try, honey. Yeah,
yeah,
good acting, but
yeah,
it's not gonna work." And I was like, "Fuck, dude," because I thought she could
yeah,
take that line all the way to the end, but
yeah.
it doesn't seem like it's gonna work.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's gonna work, and he made a good point. Like,
He's like, "Your mom's fucking crazy, and the psycho apple doesn't fall far from the tree."
that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he's gonna, if it ever came to that, he would probably bring that up in court. And
for sure. Yeah,
okay, so yeah, then it comes out, like you were saying earlier, comes out that Ty Ty was the one that hired Jessica Roberts, the reporter.
yep.
And I think that she did it to, if I remember correctly, she hired the reporter to make sure that nobody
She
else was talking.
Yeah, make sure that she could trust everybody in the circle and they
Right.
weren't giving information out.
Right. And it turns
Yeah.
out that she definitely can.
Yep.
And then Misty says that she took care of it.
Yeah, dude.
And
Oh man.
dude, you and I were talking about this during the episode, because you look at the girls in the past,
Mm,
and young Misty, she kills Crystal, and everybody has like an idea that maybe she
for
did it,
sure.
and they're
Yeah.
like, she's fucking crazy.
Yep. Yep.
But they've known, by the point in the modern day, they've known each other for so long and had to do things like that so many
Yeah.
times, that now Misty's like, oh yeah, I took care of it, like I just killed her. And they're like,
And that's how she
ah,
said it,
god
dude.
damn it,
The first
Misty.
the first thing was like, she's like, "Oh, the report, I took care of it." And she
Right.
quiet. And everybody's like, "Fucking god damn it. What the fuck did you do?"
but
Like,
but
come on.
but they're also like,
They're also
yeah,
like,
all
"Yeah,
right.
that's Misty." Like,
That's
yeah,
Misty.
exactly. Yeah.
It's just like, dude, what happened? Like, I'm so
For your friends to just be like, "Oh, she killed somebody, whatever."
right. Like there
yeah,
has to be, like, Misty has to get so wild out there in the
dude.
wilderness that they're just like, yeah, Misty's fucking crazy, but
Yeah,
she's on
that's a
our
good
side.
point,
You know
dude.
what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah.
point. Yep, that's a great point.
Yeah. Because, and I guess that is true, that Misty, she is crazy, but she is on
She's on their side.
she's
Yeah,
on
big time, dude.
she's on their
Everything
side.
everything she's done has been to protect the friend group, and she even says that. She
Yeah.
says everything I've done is to protect you guys, and I believe her. I think that that's
Yeah.
true.
And
Maybe not in a convoluted way, but she has been protecting everybody.
right, yeah, it's been like to the extreme and in
Yes.
crazy ways.
Mm-hmm.
but everything she's done has been at least intentionally for the betterment of the group.
Yep.
And man, I love these characters so much
Here,
because
I have a question for you.
yeah.
Would you want to have a Misty on your side if some shit like a murder happened?
Oh
If
yeah.
like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's the way I just thought about it. I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
dude, Misty's like that. She's your best asset right now, dude.
Yep.
Like she's what is gonna save you from fucking jail or death or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
come on, Misty, keep it going, keep it going.
And it's actually like thinking about this, it's actually blowing my mind right now seeing all of these character arcs take place. The writers did a really good job of mirroring the future women with the
Yeah.
past girls.
Yep.
Like Misty is a very obvious evolution of what she is
Misty.
out in
Yeah,
the wilderness.
for sure. Yep.
And Shauna is kind of the same way, and so is Thaisa, and so is Natalie. And I really love that. And I love that these characters have such interesting pros and cons. Like Misty is a really solid friend, even though she probably doesn't like always support you in the way that you want her to. She kind of does her own thing, but her intentions are always to support her friends.
Yep.
But she's batshit crazy, and nobody
really
likes her.
She's crazy.
Like nobody really likes to hang out with her. Like she's not like entertaining to be around.
Her value though, her value is up there.
Group. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you have Shauna, who is
she's like kind of a dumb bitch.
Kind of, yeah. She's a lot more like level-headed than everybody else, but she's got like a psychotic side.
Yes, yeah.
And she is not afraid to kill people, like with Adam, just based on some
or
very little information,
or lie to people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have Thaisa, who's like kind of the brains, like she's like
but she's the most level-headed. Yeah.
I wouldn't say she's the most level-headed, but she's the most like intelligent.
Okay.
Like smarts wise.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also batshit crazy in the way that she has her own sleepwalking stuff going on. And
that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you separate her from the sleepwalking, I think she's, like you said, pretty level-headed, pretty on top of it, can make a right decision. But the second she goes to sleep, it's murdering dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Natalie's a hard one because for me, I think she's the most sympathetic. She's almost kind of the main character. I feel like the audience is probably supposed to be the most sympathetic to her, if that makes sense. So she's the one that most people can probably connect with the most, but she's also by far the most damaged and the most just like the biggest train wreck as far as like a typical life. You know what I mean? Like she's like drug addict, alcoholic, just
emotionally damaged,
complete mess, like all that stuff. But she's the one that I find myself the most
rooting
sympathetic
for,
to and rooting
exactly,
for. Right.
Exactly. That you nailed that, dude. Totally exactly how I feel.
Yeah, I just really am loving what they've done with these characters so far, and the archetypes, the character arcs, and also the mirroring to the past selves. I think that it all adds up really, really well.
The mirroring to the when they were teenagers is by far the most intriguing aspect of this entire series.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can have an episode in the real world, today, and then you'll have an episode in the back, and they connect so much, and you understand like, oh, she did this. This is why she made that decision to do that in the future. Like that's nuts, dude. It's really cool.
It's really cool.
It's really cool.
And even the casting is so good. I feel like Natalie, I feel like is the only one that's maybe a little bit
iffy. Okay, thank you. I agree.
But I feel like the rest of them are spot
on. Shauna's
like
flawless, dude. Shauna's
perfect. And then we were talking about Van. The
Van is
girl that plays
perfect,
older
dude.
Van,
That's
how
just
did they
it's
do that?
unreal, bro. So I
It's
was saying, I was like,
literally
they had to have, before the show was ever even conceived, they had to have been like, you and you're perfect. You're in
yes.
this show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. And I think even Thaisa looks
Yes,
strikingly
very similar.
similar.
Yep. Yep.
And then Misty, I feel like they did a really good job
Yep.
with her.
For sure.
Yeah, just great casting
Yeah,
all
no, it's
around.
awesome, dude. It's awesome.
So yeah, then back in that kind of circle where they're all kind of admitting to everything.
Mhm.
Misty admits to being the FBI agent that was looking into Natalie.
Oh, yes, along with
Yeah,
Walter.
and
Yeah.
then through that, the guy that they were
Randy.
interrogating, Randy, yeah,
Yep.
she's like, you know what? He seemed really suspicious, and then she kind of connected that back to Jeff,
Yes. That's right. She
and it
made the
comes
connection
out,
right there.
yeah, and it comes out that Jeff was the one that
It's
blackmailed
the
them all
blackmailer.
to uh to get money out of
Yeah.
them.
Oh,
So
that scene sucked, dude. Because like
yeah,
Shauna was just like trying her best, and Missy's like, "No, this adds up," and everybody's like,
yeah,
"What the fuck, Shauna? What the
yeah,
fuck were you thinking?" And
right.
I half of me was like, I feel for her in the situation. Like, I don't know what I would have done. The other
Hmm.
half was like, how could you be so stupid, dude? Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. She should have just told everybody from the beginning.
For sure. Yeah, and that's the only people she should have told. Get your four
Yeah.
friends, put Misty on the case, make her do her shit, and be done with it.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Right.
Over. Misty would take care of it. I can feel that.
Yeah. If and that's the interesting thing too. You think about you look back to the first season and they were all trying to get away from Misty
Yeah,
because
you're like,
and as
Misty's your greatest asset,
yeah,
dude.
and as the viewer too, I was like, yeah, they need to get the fuck away from Misty, get
Yeah,
her out of here. But it turns out that if they had just trusted her from the beginning,
they would
she
have been
probably
fine.
could have.
They would have been fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
So then we see Ben making crutches to be more snow
That's
friendly.
right. Yep.
He wants to go and see the tree that Javi drew. He goes out at night, which was really surprising.
Yeah.
And then we already talked about like he finds the tree and kind of goes in there,
Yep.
and that's the last we see of him for now. And then we get Travis apologizing to Natalie after the whole Javi
Yeah.
thing.
Okay. What did you think about this scene? Like,
I
honestly, from knowing Travis and her problems, how did you feel?
I liked it. I think it makes sense. I think that
Okay.
those two are always going to find their way back to each other,
Okay.
no
Cool.
matter what happens.
Okay. That's
Um, and even after what happens at the end of this episode,
yeah.
we know that they did reconnect in the
Yep. In the
modern
future.
day.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're
Cool.
they're always kind of coming back together. But
Yeah.
they have a really great moment where I forget exactly what he says, but he apologizes and he's like
Well,
I
so he says, he's like, You are a wonderful person. I'm
yes.
so sorry if I ever made you feel like you weren't.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, so they have this great moment. She like kind of grabs his hand, and then at the end of the episode though, she
Dude.
kind of trades Javi's life for hers.
No, and yeah, and that's dude, I can't even. Can you see a reconciliation from that? I cannot.
I don't
I
know,
cannot vision
man.
how that would happen.
I think
Unless he never finds out that like that's what was going through her head,
right.
you know? Because she could have
Yeah,
been like, yeah, Javi ran through the ice and they grabbed me and they held me back. They wouldn't let me help him,
right.
you know, shit like that. So fuck, dude, that's gonna be unreal, dude, to
I
figure out how that
know.
works out.
And this is the second thing with Javi that she's screwed up
Fucked up
with.
on
Yeah.
exactly, dude. Yeah.
So
Ugh.
I don't know. I don't know how there's any coming back from it.
Yeah, I don't know either.
One thing that we didn't talk about in the last episode was that Misty, after she goes through her whole deprivation tank thing, she calls Walter and she leaves him a voicemail.
Yeah,
And she's like, I'm sorry, like you were
that's
right about
right. Yep.
everything and yada yada yada. And so Walter is currently, if he got that message, which I believe he did, he currently believes that Misty did kill Adam. And
Yeah.
so he's trying to protect her. And he sees in the news that they found this guy Adam's body, and so he messages the police station saying, "Hey, I have news, I have info on this murder." And then we see him kind of like getting ready and stuff. He grabs a bag, he grabs a jacket, and you have to assume that he's, I don't know, like he's gonna be like feeding them some
So
misinformation or
that's
something.
the hope, right?
Yeah,
That's what you're hoping, and I'm hoping for as well. But
yeah,
it would not surprise me if there's maybe another tier to that, another level to the deception.
yeah,
Uh, I would agree. I don't see him just outing her,
yeah,
but I feel like there's going to be kind of a very mysterious way that he goes about helping them.
yeah,
It's something that we'd be like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "No,
yeah,
I did this because of
right.
something else."
Yeah, and we see in the scenes for next week, he's in Jeff's house, and he's like, "Do you want me to help you hide the body?"
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
they've killed somebody, I
Yep.
think. Um,
Yeah, I wonder who that is, dude.
yeah, so I'm interested to see how he kind of goes about doing this, because I think that he is, I guess, in love with
I would say,
Misty or
yeah, he's
something.
all
Yeah,
in for Misty for
yeah.
sure. I would
And
agree.
so he's trying to protect them.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what he does.
So excited, dude. So
I
excited.
I'm glad that he's coming back as a character, because for a couple episodes he
You
wasn't
thought he
really
was never gonna,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, man, I hope they don't just write him off, but it
Mhm.
sounds like he might be a leading character going into the third
Yeah,
season.
I hope so.
I love this scene between Callie and Jeff where he tells Callie
Oh
what
yeah.
happened to
Yep.
Shauna out in the woods, and he just
Yeah.
has like a very real moment with her, and
Yep.
he's like, she lost a baby boy, and
Mhm.
it was my child as well, and
Yeah.
all this stuff that has kind of happened. Um, so yeah, I like Jeff as a character just
Me
in
too.
general, and
Yeah,
so
me
it was
too.
cool to see him just being real with Callie.
Yep.
So one thing I was thinking as we were kind of going through this episode is, should Shauna die or get arrested?
Mm,
And Shauna is sympathetic in her own way, to where, she's got her own trauma that we see and feel sympathetic for and
yep.
whatnot. And so she's done some really, really terrible
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
that's really hard to forgive, even as just a viewer.
Yep.
And I don't know where I fall on whether she should, get some judgment or not.
Oh yeah, dude.
I don't know, because like we talked about, all these characters have their pros and cons. Like all of
Hmm.
them have done something bad at one point or
Yep.
another. But I feel like even though Misty has done some bad stuff, she's done it all in the name of
Of good.
helping the
Or
entire
what
group.
she thinks is good, right?
Right.
Like, yeah,
Shauna, everything that she's done that's bad has been in like a selfish
dude.
way.
Okay.
So I'm curious where you fall on the
Okay.
morality for.
So let me just start by saying I think that future Shauna, is the most fucked up character of this entire show.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Like hands down. I think that her either psychosis or her thoughts that are not correct come out in such a subtle way where you're like, oh, she was just doing what she had to make sure this survived or whatever with
Right.
and so like I'm like, I don't know, like here's my thing. If Shauna was to die, right? That was the question. Die or survive. Or
Yeah.
jail. Die or jail. I
Yeah, I
think that
guess
if
die, survivor, jail.
okay, die,
Yeah.
survivor, jail. So I would love to see her survive, as I'm sure many people would.
Sure.
Just like no jail, get out of it somehow. But
Yeah.
there's no way that that's what's gonna happen, right? It just can't be there.
Yeah.
I think personally, I think that she deserves jail,
Yeah.
and I think she needs to fucking suffer the crazy shit she's done, like, and just understand, like, no, you were doing some psychotic shit, like you
Yeah.
were killing people, like you can't just do that. I don't think that she should die. And again, we won't know this whole cup thing until after, but I kind of hope she doesn't die only because of Jeff and Callie. Like I would
Yeah.
love for them to find a little bit of closure, like even if
Yeah.
it's just like the most minute amount.
Yeah.
Because right now I feel like Jeff's like, who the fuck did I marry, dude?
Yes, dude. And
Like she is nuts. Like, and the dream that Jeff had right there, that's perfect prose for that.
yes, dude, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yes,
this dream that
yes,
he has where she's
was
got
fucking terrifying,
like
dude.
he like wakes up and he comes out to the kitchen
And
and they're
she's,
like
oh, dude,
making
yeah.
out and I
Or
was
she
like,
just like, oh, hi, 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 honey, blah blah blah, makes
yeah,
out, and then she slices half of his stomach off, like
yeah,
the skin on his stomach. He's
yeah,
like, what the fuck? And then she's got these like sutured knife
sawzall
hands,
blades. Yeah.
sawzall hands, like
Yeah.
without a hand. He's like, what happened to your hand? And I'm like, dude, that's what we knew it was a dream, but I'm
Yeah.
like, bro, can you imagine what's going on in Jeff's mind to even think about this as a dream?
Right.
Like he has to be just terrified, dude.
Yeah, there's got to be some stuff going
For
on the
sure.
inside there.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this when it was the scene with Jeff and Callie, and they're just talking about this messed up
Yeah.
situation that they're in. And it's like, oh, yeah, they didn't ask for any of this. Like,
Yeah.
they're just
No,
living their
no.
normal person life.
Yep.
And the mom and
Brought
wife,
him all into it, dude. Like,
oh, dude,
just unreal.
it's tough.
Yeah.
And so it's like you want to feel sympathetic for her, but if she were to go away, everything would be a lot easier for
Yep.
pretty much everybody.
And
Like,
that's what dude, I'm really thinking about like either Callie or Jeff is gonna come to a point and where they believe that and they're like,
yeah,
dude, especially Jeff, because Jeff's like, Jeff doesn't want to bring his daughter into this. His daughter's not a murderer. She's not crazy. Like
right,
she's just a teenage girl. And I could totally see Jeff coming to a point where he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. No,
yeah,
she did it. Like
yeah,
me and my daughter are safe. Like we didn't do a thing. Let us go.
yeah.
And go on.
Oh man, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So then we see that Lottie is not doing so well.
Yep.
And Shauna comes down. She's like, she needs to eat. She needs food.
Yeah.
And there's no food
There's no
to be
food. Yeah.
had. And so they do this thing where they take
Oh,
a deck
fucking
of
goddamn
cards
it, dude.
and they pull a queen and there's like scratched out eyes on the queen and they shuffle it into the deck and they go around the room and everybody pulls a card, and if they pull the queen with the crossed out eyes, then they're the one that is going to get eaten. And so it's happening really, really slowly and finally gets to Natalie and she pulls the queen and Shauna has the necklace around her throat and like puts the knife there. And Natalie's like,
You better fucking
no,
look me in the
you
eye.
better look me in the eye and
Yeah.
do it. And right before she's about to do it, Travis tackles
Or
Shauna
Shauna, yeah.
and he's like, run. Natalie starts running. And then we see Javi run after her. And I was surprised. I
We
remember
see
being,
Javi run after he looks at his brother with a knife to his throat.
yeah,
'Cause he's like about to leave and he sees Travis with the knife to his throat and he like stutters and then goes after Natalie. Which
yeah,
I think is significant.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I thought that he was chasing down Natalie with the rest of them to eat her.
No, he was trying to
And
save
then
her. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then he gets out there and he's like, I can take you to this place. And then we kind of we get the whole thing with them on the ice and the ice
Yeah.
starts cracking and he
Ugh,
falls
that
through the ice.
sucked, dude. That sucked.
But during the middle of all that, where Natalie is, while she's getting hunted, we get a flash forward to the present day where Lottie proposes that they drink from these
God damn.
poisoned cups. And she says, like, all of this stuff that's happening is all because the
So
spirit or
yes,
whatever wants one of us.
Lottie is just utterly convinced, and she's convincing the others too. Like, there's this thing that's been following me around ever since this happened.
Yeah.
And this is what it's always wanted. It wants one of us. It
Yeah.
has since the beginning. It wants it now. And that was wild to me because I thought that they were getting away with just like blood or like,
Right.
a sacrificial lamb or whatever.
Yeah.
But it makes me feel like, no, like this thing wants death, like
Yeah.
real death from somebody that it knows, yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, I wonder how much of that is real, because at the beginning of the show, in the first season, when the plane crashes, we see Lottie go back to the plane to find her meds. She's got some like psychotic meds.
Antipsychotic. Yep.
Yeah. And you wonder how much of what's happening is in Lottie's head. And by her kind of seeing all this stuff and kind of going a little crazy in her head, she's convinced everybody else of that as well. And people are just following her lead and convincing themselves that they
Totally
also feel
fair.
this way.
Yeah.
And so I really wonder how much of this whole, spirit of
It's
the
actually
wilderness
been
thing.
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's totally fair. Fair, dude. I would totally agree, because I'm assuming that she had schizophrenia. I'm assuming she had schizophrenia.
Yeah.
That's a serious illness, dude. Like, you hear stuff, you see stuff, you feel stuff that's not there, but you believe that it is. So who knows if that was really true, and it could have been a lie the whole time, or very, very true. And I think that's part of the beauty of this show, like,
it's
it's
fun
just
to
going to be
guess.
something. Yeah, you have to figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
What was real, what's not.
Yeah, it's fun to kind of figure out and make theories along the way. I think that there has to be some aspect of a supernatural something.
Yeah.
But I could also see the show going the way where there's a rational explanation for everything. And I think whichever way it goes, I think that I will enjoy whatever it ends up being. But yeah, so we get she's saying, give it what it wants, and then she says, this is what we've always done. So that means after the whole thing with the card, and after the whole thing of Natalie getting hunted through the woods, they did that the rest of their time there. This is what we've always done. We've always sacrificed somebody to this spirit, to the wilderness. And I think that season 3 is really where we're going to get into, seeing what we saw in the first episode of season 1, where we got that flash to the future of everybody, like full tribal.
For sure. All the headdresses on, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I think that season 3 is really, with them finally coming to this conclusion near the end of season 2, where they're like, okay, we're going to basically draw straws for who gets cannibalized. I think that is the start of the decline of everything.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch.
That's right. Yeah, I cannot wait, dude.
I'm super excited to see it all just kind of go to hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think we got through all the notes. We talked about Ben finding the tree, Javi falling through the ice. Yeah, I don't know what the fallout from that is going to be like. How are you going to explain to Travis?
That was my main thought, is how are you going to portray this to Travis? That's what I'm waiting to figure out.
Javi should have been the one guy that they didn't give a card to, because it's like
he was gone for what, 5 months?
Yeah.
Like,
or probably less than that, but yeah.
And then he came back and was just silent. Like, he's not even part of this group. He's not part of the group that you guys have made over the past 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck?
But not only that, but it's like, if you kill Javi, like, you still have Travis, and now you have to live with that person.
Yeah, if you kill Javi, but you kill Travis.
Exactly.
He's done. He's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
for sure.
But like, if you kill Natalie, Travis will be upset, but not in the same way that he would with killing Javi.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, that'll be some weird shit.
I have a feeling this is the point where they break off into teams, and there's kind of like there's like one side and the other side, and they kind of either hunt each other or try something. I don't know.
I can see that. Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure at some point it'll break into at least two different teams.
Yeah. But that would not surprise me at all.
All right, well, that is pretty much it. I really liked these episodes. I liked 8 more than I liked 7.
Same.
But I think so far 8 is probably one of my favorite episodes of the season, maybe in like my top 2. I'd have to go back and try to remember what some of the earlier episodes were. Yeah, I think that these did a good job after kind of a lackluster couple episodes on our previous discussion. So I think it'll only get better, and the finale looks just packed with
True
stuff.
that.
Like
Yeah, it's
it
gonna be
looks
crazy.
so insane.
It's gonna be crazy.
So I'm super excited for it. All right, well that's pretty much it, I guess. So yeah, guys, thank you for hanging out with us and chilling while we talk about episodes 7 and 8 of Yellowjackets season 2. I'm so excited to hear what you guys think of these episodes and Yellowjackets in general in the comments section down below, or you can reach out to us on Twitter or Discord, which are both linked in the description, as is our Patreon. We already talked at length about Patreon, so I'm not going to give you guys that whole thing again. But if you'd like to support us, that's a great way to do it. You can also support us by liking and subscribing here on YouTube. Helps us get seen by the algorithm and more weirdos like you. So if you want more weirdos in the community, then hit that old like and subscribe button. And that is where we're gonna wrap up, guys. So excited for the finale next week. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. We'll see you next time on the Fantasy Files Reacts. And a big shout out to our first Night Angel tier patron, Shad Zaman. Thank you so much, man.